episode number 1, Double R Flo-Town Podcast. We've been talking about this for 2 years. Why are we doing this? What is the deal? Why are we doing this, Reeves?
It's the debut, Double R Flo-Town.
Yes.
This is fantastic. You know, I think we're doing it because we believe in Florence. There's some things we need to do that will help us become a better city, but we both were born and raised here. We've chosen to come back and raise our families here, and we want to tell the story of Florence. Bigger than just real estate. Obviously, we're real estate guys, but we want to tell the broader story of what's going on in Florence and get people excited about living in Florence.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think you were born for this. I think this is your...
Following in your footsteps, my man.
So we've got Izzy Markle. He's command control back there. He's making all this happen. We're downtown Florence in the Ken Ard studio. And it feels cool. It's like a vision that I think we've both had that's coming together. And for me, this podcast is to talk about what we see going on in Florence, what we've got going on, and hopefully to bring people together. And I feel like we've got a little bit of a knack of bringing people together, and I want to do that.
We've had a chance to meet a lot of really cool people who are doing really cool things in Florence. And a lot of times we leave those meetings, Robert, and we're like, man, if we could just let more people know what's happening in Florence, what's coming, I think people would be really excited about it. And so the Double R podcast has been birthed and born from that. And we're going to see how this thing goes. We're both, never done this before, but I think it's going to be fun. And you're right. There's a lot of just inspiring things. But we're also going to get into some of the things that Florence can do to help us notch up a bit as well, because those things need to happen. And it's obviously not the perfect place to live, but it's a great place to live.
Yeah, I hope people reach out to us and say, I think you guys need to talk about this, or we're interested in this or that, or I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
One of the visions I think of is my wife and I are both from here. Mm-hmm. She went to Clemson. I went to Columbia International University. Right out of college, we moved back to Florence. And after a year, we were like, we have got to get out of Florence. And so we moved to a really cool place. A place that you would think a lot of people would want to live, Dallas, Texas. And we went there and we lived for 4 years. I was in grad school. And when we left, pulling out of Florence after that first year of marriage, we said, over our dead bodies, are we ever coming back to Florence?
Yeah.
But after spending 4 years in Dallas, and we loved our time in Dallas, we still have great friends. It was a really cool place to live, one of the biggest cities in the United States, obviously. We still came back and said, you know what? Florence is where we want to be when we raise a family. And now it's been 19 years since we've come back, and we've seen a lot of changes in Florence, but they've been good. And
I'm excited. I see interesting growth happening. I'm pretty sure we are getting a Publix.
It's coming.
Publix is happening this time.
It is going to happen.
It is happening. So, it's off to the races now.
We've started and stopped that whole thing a bunch of times, but Publix is coming.
Yeah. And there's a lot more coming this way. Florence is teed up for some interesting growth. I really feel like we got a lot of the right people in place. And then Ken Ard and what he synergizes with what he does every day is pretty amazing, and I hope we can kind of be a small part of that as well.
We really appreciate him giving us this studio space, and obviously we've talked to Ken, we know Ken, and the things that he talks about and the ways he's wanting to progress this city, we wholeheartedly support.
A platform like this gives you the voice to get things moving. I feel like I've been kind of late to the podcast game.
Yeah.
In the last year, really gotten into it and then saw how influential it was in the last election. I mean, there's power in this, but there's there's power in it from a local perspective for us, I think.
So let me ask you this question, changing gears just a bit. You talk about getting into the podcast game, and I think both of us have gotten into it over the last year or two. What's your favorite podcast? Who do you like to listen to during the week?
I love All In Podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are doing something pretty cool, and I've learned a lot, and I think it's grown like crazy.
Well, I'll never forget, you came into the office probably a year and a half ago, and you were like, Reeves, I got some smart guys.
Yeah.
And it was the guys doing the All In Podcast.
Yeah.
And I've started listening as well. They obviously, I think one of the dudes now is serving in Trump's cabinet.
That's right. David Sachs. Yeah.
They're just bring some great content. So that's a cool podcast we both enjoy listening to.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are we going to do once a month? Is that what we're thinking?
Once a month podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in Florence, some cool projects that we see coming. We're going to probably bring in guests from time to time so you can tell us about those things. We're obviously going to give a little bit of a real estate update because we are real estate guys, but this is bigger than just a real estate podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
It is going to be about living in Florence, South Carolina, and why it's a good place to live.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we'll obviously throw in what's happening in our lives because, I mean,
maybe
no one else may be interested, but we're interested in what we're doing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I'm excited. You know, I think it's going to be cool. I really do. I think it's going to be cool. I think there's going to be some things that happen from this that we'll look back and say, wow, that's cool because this led to that. And so anyway, I think we keep it short on this one and we'll nail the next one.
Let's do it.